Oh. Do you like what you see? No. You look like an avocado. Had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado. Yeah. Not gently. There was something wrong with the relationship, and that was the only catharsis that they could find without violence. I am sorry, you are haunting. Your face is the stuff of nightmares. You will die alone. If you could die. Ideally. For others' sake.
That'll do.
There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace. The word is chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour. And today, because I am roasting up here in my room, I've decided to give Marvel Legends themselves a bit of a roasting because we are going to cover the worst Marvel Legends of all time. Of all time? Of all time.
Boom. Roasted.
Now, this is just, like I said, it's a roast. That's what you do to your friends when you're buddies and you're hanging out. Unless you're not allowed to do that anymore. I know that, woke type things say you can't make fun of your friends anymore. I grew up with my friends making fun of me and I turned out alright. Right? Oh, hey, Mum. No, that's okay. Don't worry. Sorry, I was very rudely interrupted there by my mother wanting to get into a room of her house. I know. The nerve. Can you believe it? Anyway, what was I saying? Worst Marvel Legends. Alright, now I put this question to the Facebook groups because, you know me, I'm as pure as the driven snow and I would never say anything bad about Marvel Legends. In fact, if Hasbro wanted to ask me to maybe reveal one of their new figures on this channel, I'd be delighted to. But of course, that's not important. But they could contact me at Instagram displaying_model_behavior if Hasbro hypothetically wanted to do that. But I don't care, it's not important, but Instagram displaying model behavior. So I put it to the Facebook groups, what are the worst Marvel Legends of all time, and this is what they had to say. Let's do it. First off, we have Misty Knight, and this is one that I think I've volunteered myself because, oh my goodness, it's a good figure. That's the problem. That's the heartbreaker. That's the kicker, because it's a nice figure with a good body design, gun, accessories, the cool kind of 70s looking jumpsuit, and then those eyes. What happened? You did so well, Hasbro, and you just couldn't quite stick the landing. You got a great character, and there are very few, women of color in Marvel Legends to represent. And you finally get one with a fro and a cool look, and then you bodge the eyes, and it's oh, you were so close. And I thought at first it was maybe just my figure, but no, it's all of them. They're all printed with the eyes oogly boogly. And it's darn it. If ever a figure deserved a new version, a redo, maybe more so than Omega Red, then it's Misty Knight. Come on, Hasbro. We're going to give you another chance to get it right. One of the good brothers over on Marvel Legends UK says, Captain Marvel, her head just looks kind of funny. And you know what? I can't see it myself, but that doesn't mean it's not true. And a very good friend of mine says, Cannonball, his arms won't go down, his head has a funny looking expression on it, and oh yeah, he hasn't got any legs. That was one that was so egregious when the figure came out. It's dude, I know that's an effect, but that's the thing, it should be an effect. Give us the choice to pose it with legs. But Hasbro were nah, don't you worry, you can buy the legs later. And then it was inevitable that this was going to come up sooner than later. We get this image. Yep, hot dog, we have a wiener. I think we can probably stop the votes right now. It is the beautiful Southern Bale Rogue. Oh my goodness, this looks like she should be saying, I got this ring from my 16th husband. Give me some chips for it, sugar. I'm having one of those cigarillo things. I'm a professional actor, can't you tell? But yeah, she looks like she's been blasted in the face with Homer Simpson's makeup gun, and then maybe had some other horrible thing done because, whew, this is the woman who Gambit, the Lothario lover who beds all these thousands of women. This is his untamed swan. This is the beauty that he just can't get. I don't know, Remy, maybe you gotta have more confidence in yourself. One of the guys says, MCU Gamora. I think this is the first release Gamora, and he says she looks so bored. And I can see it, but also the funny thing is that kind of fits Gamora's personality, where she's like just so over everything that's happening and kind of just rolling her eyes at Peter Quill, which is fine, except the guy writing the comment also adds, like, every time I catch her eyes when I'm doing something in my room, I think she's looking at me like, what's this idiot up to now? Now, of course, we have almost an entire wave, which is the Sandman Build-A-Figure Spider-Man 3 wave. Oh yeah, I'm not doing the modern one, that's fantastic, but the Spider-Man 3 movie wave with the Sandman Build-A-Figure, where do we even begin with this? Oh my goodness. So the BAF itself is just like a weird existential modern art sculpture statue more than it is any kind of action figure. It's like, well, maybe that seemed like a good idea to someone. Then we have Dr. Octopus, who apparently only has 2 bendy wires in his tentacles, and then the other 2 are just a flippity floppity mess. Then we've got MJ, who looks weird. Apparently Symbiote Spider-Man is odd. I don't own any of these figures. I don't particularly want to, because looking at the pictures, it's a bit of a train wreck. A figure I do own now is the little Franklin Richards with his weird looking sort of, he looks almost like claymation kind of thing, like a Play-Doh figure. He looks odd, and of course compared to modern legends, he looks a little too big and like a bit of a giant head, and just I think the look on his face says, I've just seen myself in the mirror for the first time, and why did no one tell me my head was this big? It's a very strange looking figure, and in fairness, this is Toy Biz. This is early, you know. We look at Toy Biz with a lot of rose tinted lenses. They did a lot of good stuff. They gave great accessories and extras and some paint jobs and stuff, but whoa, sometimes those faces could make your blood run cold. More on that later. Now we got ourselves Infinity War Captain America, which at a glance is not a bad figure, but then you realize that it makes me think of Spaceballs, where someone would get this figure for me and I'd be like, you idiot! You've captured their stunt doubles! Looks nothing like. Look, I was about to say Colonel Sanders, that was the character I was quoting. It looks nothing like Chris Evans whatsoever. So it is just a case of like, I know that sometimes you get prototypes you've got to work off, but were they working from a prototype face? This is Chris Evans, dude. Just do Chris Evans. Who's this guy? Sticking with the MCU now, of course, we have to include derpy Paul Rudd AntMan. And it's a shame because Paul Rudd is everyone's best buddy. Everyone wants to be friends with Paul Rudd. Why? Because he just seems like such a cool dude. Plus, most likely a vampire also. Did you see him like in Clueless? The dude looks the same. It's been like 25 years. Maybe 30 years, God. Either way, he shouldn't be looking as young, youthful, and vibrant as he is, but my goodness, we're so glad because the dude is a national treasure. Unfortunately, his Ant-Man figure is the worst. Now going back to the comics, we have the old Warpath figure, with the head being the main bone of contention. Just this big derp kind of large features, weird looking. I don't know how to say it. I think he's done a few too many cycles, if you know what I mean. It's like, dude, you know, you gotta like lay off the roids before you get back onto them. Otherwise you're gonna get the big caveman forehead. It's not a good look, is what we're saying. So for Warpath, yeah, that definitely makes the list. And another real classic, and a figure that I had for a short amount of time, is this White Queen. Yeah, it's just kind of funny that a character who is supposed to be so kind of elegant and beautiful and almost like this angelic kind of ice queen has that as a face and a body and everything else. It's not a pretty picture. I don't like looking at it. So yeah, if I was Emma Frost, somehow the magical character given form, I'd be like, you're making that goddamn figure again, and you're gonna do it right. And ideally put it in an overpriced 4-pack. Of course, there is the clear diamond version of this figure as well, which you might at a glance think, oh, okay, this one's better because it's in like the diamond form. You can't see the features so well, so it kind of hides a lot of sins. Unfortunately, the type of plastic that makes the diamond look will start to yellow over time, so eventually it just looks like she's made out of yellow snow. Ugh. Then, of course, we have one of the first ever movie figures. Not necessarily the first, I lose track. I think maybe Punisher or Daredevil was. I digress. But we have, I won't even say the name of the character. I'll just show the picture and say the caption that was given with it, which is, "Hey, you guys!" Yeah, is it Jean Grey from X3 or is it Sloth from the Goonies? Only the sculptor knows for sure. Maybe like NECA had some leftover parts that Hasbro were like, oh, we'll just use that for the Jean Grey head. It doesn't look good, guys. It really doesn't look good. Sticking with the movies, but a lot more modern, we have the Winter Soldier Falcon, who I'm told has a dull color scheme, which is fair enough, you can kind of see that in the picture, but also very spindly little arms. Maybe that's why he has the big wings, he's trying to compensate for the little bitty arms, but basically a very underwhelming figure for a character that's, you know, quite anticipated. So fortunately, the Disney Plus wave that's just coming out now is giving them a chance to get a redo on the Falcon. One of the good brothers posted, "Sixarmed SpiderMan, nuff said." And you know what? I don't want to agree with that because I like Sixarmed SpiderMan, but at the same time, I get it. It's a modern Marvel legend without any kind of torso articulation, ab crunch, nothing. It's not good. He has so much extra articulation in his arms, shoulders, wrists, elbows that they're like, well, we gotta take something out of somewhere. So I get it. For the ease of mass production, I understand. Like, it wasn't like a creative choice. Someone sat there and went, you know what we should do? Take the goddamn torso articulation out. That's what we should do. That's what's gonna make this figure pop. No, we know that's not what happened. So, like, I get it. But at the same time, I don't want to have to get it. I want a better figure, but it is what it is. But also, that's why I shouldn't complain about Hasbro, which is what I'm going to put in another video quite soon, which is that we got a Sixarmed Spider-Man figure. Like, who asked for that? Which is what everyone says. But seriously, like, where were the millions of people saying, I will plonk down my money? There weren't, but there were just enough small collectors who you could throw it into a BAF series with to make it worthwhile. Although, actually, having said that, Sixarmed Spider-Man didn't come with the BAF piece, I don't think. But I digress. Either way, thank you, Hasbro, for giving us a very obscure character, even if you didn't quite stick the landing. Now we're going way back into time with the toy Biz Mandarin and his rubber dress. Yes, this is specifically the green one with the masked face as well, which the poster says he never wore this costume, never had this mask, just doesn't really, it's a thing that hinders the figure and isn't even what we're sort of used to seeing as the Mandarin. It's bad in a lot of ways, and apparently that little dress hides some very spindly legs too, so at least maybe there's a canon reason for him wearing it, but on the whole it doesn't take away from the fact that he's not a great character. Although, even though that's the case, if you look at the picture of him, it's like he's shrugging his shoulders going, nah, what are you gonna do? Now another big one. This is like one of the money figures, if like money is bad figure trading. I don't know how that currency works, but either way, it's the Scarlet Witch, the early Riders Scarlet Witch, like neck and neck with Toy Biz Rogue, but I think Toy Biz Rogue is a bit more meme-y at this point, meme-ish, if you will. But oh my goodness, that Riders Scarlet Witch, oh, she looks like you know, the weird kid at school who you would think like, oh, why is everyone mean to her? She's a bit weird, but I'm gonna go and be nice to her. And then you go over to her and she's like gobbling up worms in the playground, and you're like, oh, I was gonna be nice, but I'm just gonna walk away. You are a bit weird. Go join the X-Men. You're too weird for the Avengers. And that's the Riders Scarlet Witch. It just looks thin, skinny face and spindly and just not good. I would not want that on my shelf. Thank you. This one maybe doesn't entirely count, but Madcap, mainly because he doesn't have a body. Yeah, this was one of those ones that Hasbro do sometimes, like Shadow King or Lilandra, where they just throw in a head, and it's like, hey, maybe we'll give you a body someday. Maybe we won't. Who knows? Who the hell even cares? So Madcap is just a head. Thanks for that, I guess. It doesn't really count as a bad figure, but still, there's a little bit of a head scratcher. Head scratcher. Man, I'm good. I should be getting Hasbro reveals. Now we have the Toy Biz X23. Oh, yeah, again, just kind of a weird looking figure. And I think what the poster is most annoyed about, who mentioned this, is the fact that she's also really expensive apparently on the back market. So it's like, I'm not just so annoyed that she's an ugly looking figure, but she's so expensive as well. It's like, you cannot justify that kind of price tag with those looks on your Chevy Chase. Now a figure that's going to eventually just become a hazy memory in time, and that is Tigra, because we are about to get a new Tigra. And when I say about, like, we've just seen like the prototype sketch, so it's going to be a ways off, but at least we know we are going to be able to update and replace the old Tigra, who I don't think is like a terrible figure, but the fact is she's quite an important Avengers character, especially with like the ancillary teams and stuff. So to have to use such an old figure in a more modern setup, it doesn't really sit well with a lot of collectors, myself included. So I'm very glad we're getting an upgrade. And a very forward-thinking poster says, he ain't even come out yet, but the hood looks nothing like the Hood. And I totally get that. I'm a big fan of the Hood in the comics, and I don't know who that guy is, but it's not the Hood. Now, the figure, yeah, he's got a lot going against him with his guns that fire the magical you-know-whats, and the fact that his feet can't touch the ground when the Hood is on, so if his feet do touch the ground, then the Hood is hovering over his head. How did that get past the concept stage, guys? Maybe that's why they won't ask me to do reveals. I'd be like, what the hell is this? No, just send me a good figure, that's all. But still, Instagram displaying model behavior. It's, yeah, that face is a weird looking face. The Hood sits over him. As soon as I get him, like, I still want him because I'm a big fan of the Hood. I'll put him immediately in a flight stand, so it looks like he's jumping, so the Hood can rest on his head, his feet can hang down, and he won't look as dumb as he looks in all the pictures. One of the good brothers just says, Molten Man is the worst, no one beats him, just a horrible figure. And I get it. With so many different characters that could be made from the MCU that MCU collectors are apparently asking for, I don't know, I'm just a comics guy. But to make Molten Man, it's like, it wasn't like he's a big character that it's like, yeah, he's literally a big character, but I don't think anyone walked out of, Far From Home saying, oh, I really hope they do a Molten Man, even though Molten Man isn't even a real thing, he's just a projection from Mysterio. I don't know, maybe they were, but I'm a YouTuber, so of course I speak for everyone. Duh! But yeah, I have Molten Man, and I instantly had him customed into a DK figure, which is even more completely random and out there, but it makes me happy. A lot happier than having Molten Man would. This is kind of a fun one. Squirrel Girl and her scooter. And the main reason being that she doesn't even have hands with which to hold the scooter. Just, again, come on, you were so close, how did that become a thing? Where it's like, oh yeah, derp! Come on, guys. Also, Squirrel Girl is a very ancillary character. She has, I do like that word, ancillary, it makes me sound smart. But she's got a big kind of like, meme generation type following. Like, the kids like Squirrel Girl, but honestly, not that many of kids are actually collecting Marvel Legends. It's mainly sort of 40 plus guys. Trust me, I've checked my stats. But I don't think that they sort of couldn't have just slipped Squirrel Girl into like a little bath wave. She didn't need a deluxe release with a scooter and all this stuff, the spooter on the scooter. I don't know. Either way, just if you're gonna put her with a scooter, at least give her hands with which to hold onto it. Am I right or am I right? I'm right. And finally, to round out the list, we have the original Black Cat. Oh my goodness! I got this in a box of fodder once from somebody, and I was like, is this even what is this? She quickly departed ways from my company and collection because, like, some of the early Toy Biz, they really had a knack for making like beautiful characters really hard to look at. And it wasn't like this was made in the deep dark ages. This was in the early 2000s. You should see some of the figures that you could get with the faces that look like, pretty characters and not whatever was made by a sculptor like this, I don't know how they made them like that, but clearly they spent so much time on the accessories and the pack-ins and the comics and the doodads that someone went like, oh, we forgot to sculpt the faces, quick, let's just slap some clay on there and get them out the door. So even though I will harangue and harass and cheerfully roast Hasbro for some releases here and then. My goodness, we are still in the golden age of Marvel Legends because Toy Biz set a good standard for a lot of things, but also you gotta bear in mind, Toy Biz did go out of business. That's why, you know, when I sort of not correct myself, but I see myself saying like, Hasbro have cheaped out and they've not given us this or they've not given us that. Like, Toy Biz used to give us so much, and then I do sort of remind myself, but yeah, they went out of business. So it swings and roundabouts, but still, I'm very happy that with some of the newest female figures we're getting, they've managed to do more realistic, lifelike, or even just like more comic book accurate faces that portray what the figure actually looks like and not a weird melted Madame Tussauds figure. But guys, that was my random list of some of the worst Marvel Legends ever made. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, let's face it, just a couple of days ago I did my top 50 greatest Marvel Legends ever, and then I did a live stream with Sorrel where we made a whole new top 50 greatest legends ever. So I do love this brand so much, but my goodness, we've had some humdingers in our time. Folks, if you enjoyed that, then please join the 61 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on a single episode. I really enjoyed this. I need to go and take a cold shower because I'm sweating bullets. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.